I know you're trying to make deadlines, so we will try to start on time today. I just want to let you know, speaking today will be Attorney General Matthew J. Platkin and Colonel of the New Jersey State Police, Patrick Callahanl. Lyndsay Routolo, First Assistant Attorney General, will also be joining them up here, and I will get you anything else you need afterwards. So with that, I'll let you guys start.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on short notice. We just hit that door. Sorry, no detail too small. Thank you for joining us on short notice. I want to thank Colonel Callahanl, my partner, as well as First Assistant Lyndsay Routolo, and many other members of the State Police for joining me here today. Thankfully, we can update you today that the New Jersey State Trooper who was shot yesterday in Paterson is in great spirits. We're not releasing his name at this time out of concern for his safety, but can confirm that he was transported to St. Joseph's Regional Medical Center, where he underwent surgery for his injury yesterday and is currently recovering. And thankfully, we expect him to make a full recovery. Out of respect again for his safety, we will not be commenting further on his condition or providing additional personal details. I will, however, take this opportunity to acknowledge him and his family and to thank them from the bottom of our hearts for their service to the state, and to let them know, as we let all of our law enforcement partners know, that we stand with them, not just today, but every day, as well as for everyone in this state who dedicates their lives to the protection of our residents. Thursday morning's incident remains under investigation, a very active and ongoing investigation, but I can tell you that Jocquise R. Timmons, 28, of Paterson, was apprehended in South Carolina by the United States Marshals earlier this afternoon. We've begun the extradition proceedings to bring him back to New Jersey, where he will face the following charges: 2 counts of attempted murder, first degree, 4 counts of aggravated assault, second and third degrees, 1 count of possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose, second degree, and 1 count of unlawful possession of a weapon in the second degree. These charges stem from the details of the investigation that showed that Timmons allegedly ambushed and fired on 2 troopers driving unmarked vehicles in the area of East 26th Street and 9th Avenue in Paterson. This occurred shortly before 1 a.m. yesterday, Thursday morning. The bullets hit both vehicles and, as I said, struck one of the troopers in the leg. At the time of the shooting, the troopers were involved in the investigation of an attempted break-in of a home on East 26th Street hours earlier. Timmons was one of the suspects being sought in that attempted break-in. Surveillance footage from a fixed residential location in the area of East 26th Street and 9th Avenue captured a figure later identified as Timmons, stepping out from behind a parked vehicle, assuming a shooting stance, and opening fire on troopers' vehicles as they attempted to follow a vehicle believed to be involved in the attempted break-in. Thankfully, Mr. Timmons did not succeed in the attempted murder of these 2 troopers, but it certainly wasn't for a lack of trying. Thursday's shooting is a chilling reminder of the very real risks faced daily by the women and men of law enforcement. Each and every day, they put their lives on the line to keep New Jerseyans safe from gun violence. Yesterday, one of our own fell victim to the very crime that he was working to prevent. As I said, we stand with our law enforcement partners every day. But today, justice begins for the 2 New Jersey State Troopers who were shot while carrying out their duty to protect and serve in the city of Paterson. Justice is possible because of the exceptional investigative work and cooperation that led us to Timmons' apprehension. I also want to acknowledge your patience and understanding, as our first priority was to apprehend Timmons, who we knew was on the run. I want to thank the many troopers, prosecutors, and detectives from our Division of Criminal Justice, as well as the U.S. Marshals, who worked literally around the clock over the past 36 hours to conduct a nationwide investigation that allowed us to bring Mr. Timmons to justice. In particular, I want to commend the work of my partner, Colonel Callahanl, Lieutenant Colonel Joe Brennan, Major Larry Williams, and the many women and men who worked with them and who did not sleep until we apprehended Mr. Timmons. I also want to thank my first assistant, Lyndsay Routolo, who personally worked through the night to ensure that charges could be brought promptly. You will not find better coordination and collaboration amongst law enforcement agencies anywhere in the country. Timmons' fate is now in the hands of our justice system, as well as the skilled and talented prosecutors who will handle this case. And I am confident that justice will be served. And let me finish with this. I spent much of yesterday with the trooper who was shot and his family, as well as his colleagues, including the other troopers who were at the scene. Let me tell you, you're not going to find finer detectives or people anywhere in this country than those women and men. Gun violence is an epidemic here in New Jersey. It's an epidemic in this country. And there's no better example of the people on the front lines of this epidemic than those troopers. When I first went into the trooper's hospital room, I asked him, of course, how he was feeling. After he quickly disregarded that question, told me he was feeling fine, he said, "But I really want to talk to you about another case that I'm working on." I want you to think about that for a second. This trooper was shot on the job just hours earlier. He was sitting on his hospital bed. And the only thing he wanted to talk to me about was how he could save more lives. And when I met with his colleagues, that's all they wanted to talk about. These troopers represent the absolute best in law enforcement, as do the women and men who worked literally through the night to bring the shooter, alleged shooter, to justice. I'm proud to work with them every day, but I'm particularly proud to work with them and stand with them today. This remains, as I said, an ongoing and active investigation. We will endeavor to provide updates as soon and as promptly as we can. And with that, I'll turn the mic over to Colonel Callahanl.
Thank you so much, General. I appreciate it. I'll echo the General's remarks for sure with regard to that collaboration that I think is the rest of the country looks to us and just sees how we do it. And borders just seem to melt away. NYPD are all of our federal partners, state, county. It was one mission over the course of the last day and a half. And to the General's point about the resiliency and the relentlessness, that's what we got to witness in the last day and a half. And I'd certainly be remiss if I didn't talk about it. I know often when we talk at these press conferences after we've apprehended a suspect like this, since those shots rang out, there has been investigators across all spectrums of law enforcement that have not gone home. And their families have been left home alone to run errands and go to soccer games and go to functions. So I just give a special shout out and thanks to those families who, while troopers and while we're out there and detectives and everybody across all those agencies are out there doing their job to bring subjects to justice, that families are just as much as part of these efforts and these sacrifices and certainly the service. And I just was thrilled to hear that we apprehended this alleged shooter, as well as thrilled to call myself a Jersey trooper and to watch and to sit with those troopers for nearly 18 hours yesterday at St. Joe's and to see the dedication that they have, that group of women and men that are so willing to put others before self. And that trooper that was shot speaks volumes to his calm and collectedness under pressure. The fact that he reached up and took that tourniquet from his bulletproof vest, applied it immediately. The road troopers from a Totowa barracks that got him to St. Joe's. The CIO detectives from Totowa that were out there and got the ball rolling on this right out of the gate. Just a phenomenal effort all around. The fact that troopers and law enforcement have to carry tourniquets on them lets us all know that they understand the nature and the risk involved in their jobs, and I'm just certainly honored and humbled to be amongst those men and women who serve this great state and this country. Thank you.
Take a few questions.
Hi, good morning, or good afternoon. Can you tell us a little bit more information about the trooper? We understand that you're not releasing his name, but his age, perhaps, how long he's been with the state police, and is he a father of 2 or 4, any other things you might be able to share with us about the trooper, and his expected fate to be released from?
Unfortunately, I can't share any more details about him, again, out of concern for his safety. We do expect him to be released this afternoon. And as I said, it's a small miracle, but he is going to make a full recovery, and thank God for that.
Is Mr. Timmons the only person in custody for the shooting?
At this time, but this remains an ongoing investigation.
Yes. You had an initial suspect in custody, right? Did
As I said, this remains an ongoing investigation. Mr. Timmons is in the process of being extradited back to New Jersey, and there remains an ongoing and active investigation.
Was there another suspect also taken into custody?
Mr. Timmons is the only individual that we've arrested. The troopers did not return fire, which I think again speaks to the remarkable training that our state police have, and I can confirm that that Mr. Timmons was the only shooter.
You said Mr. Timmons is the only individual you arrested. Another individual was brought into custody, correct?
I can't comment further on an active investigation.
What was the connection to South Carolina? Do you know at this point?
I can't comment on that point at this point.
Has it been recovered?
The gun has been recovered.
Can you provide details on what kind of firearm this was?
Is that? Do you want
And
to
if
take
it
this?
was registered or not registered or legal?
Oh yeah, we can say he doesn't have. One of the charges is he did not have a permit. Excuse me. It's a 10 millimeter Glock, right? It's a 10 millimeter Glock.
Have you sourced it?
There were no Nibin hits on the gun. It was a 10 millimeter handgun that was used during the crime.
Talk a little bit about the assignment on hand yesterday. This is the attempted break-in investigation.
Our state police are active in investigations across the state. We have close partnerships in Paterson, and thank God that they're out there because they keep our folks safe. I can't go further into why they were on the scene at this point, but they were responding at that point to an attempted break-in.
Maybe one more, there's actually a whole lot more we can say. Would you be able to, sorry, but is these, are they releasing the breaking footage at all? Would you have access to it?
Not at this time. Yeah. The last question.
In terms of the attempted break-in, any civilian injuries?
No civilian injuries, just the trooper.
Are you releasing a photo of the suspect?
Not at this time. Yeah. Thank you.
Spell the name.
Oh. There were two troopers in two separate unmarked vehicles that were both shot at in the car, and he was shot in the car. Yes, while they were moving. Yes.
The one in the hospital was wrong with it, right?
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
We'll be sending out the press release. I can give you the spelling